episode 20, ladies and gents. So don't hesitate to check in the video description below if you want to see the full playlist. We are playing Captain of Industry Update 2 on a custom map that I created. We have obviously started to terraform it quite a bit. You can see over here, this is quite flat. For example, we have also done quite a lot over here. And we are actually now starting on Ile Saint-Louis. And this is a map of Paris. So this is Ile Saint-Louis over here. We created this bridge with only copper. Don't ask me why, I thought that was fun. And now we're starting to dig over here. Why are we digging? Well, because there's a bit of gold there, right? It is mostly underground, so we're gonna need to do something about this. But yeah, there's a bit of gold there. And gold is definitely critical for us now. So we have a lot to cover today, so let's dive right in. First and foremost, we have finally finished the first coal mine. This first coal mine, 450,000 coal. This has been completely emptied. So right now it's obviously paused, right? There's no reason to keep it going. And we have started therefore to go on this new one over here, right? This new one over here where it says we have around 200 years. The reality is I think we're gonna get more than 200 years because I don't think I'm using, 200 years is basically at that rate of 162 per minute. I don't think I'm using that rate, but yeah, we're gonna need to find a solution to that soon for sure. One way we could slow this down is by, using less coal than before. So for example, over here, right, we have those 3 boilers that are creating steam high with this coal. We could start moving them into actually electric boilers. This is what we had started to do, for example, for our nuclear plant over here, right? We're using those boiler electrics. So I can do this, everywhere. Mainly this one is a big one because we're creating a lot of water for this, and then also I think the other big one is over here, right? We have 4 of these, so again that's a couple of these. Even if there we had this boiler that was using fuel gas, that was helping a bit, but still that should help making a bit more sustainable. Then in the last episode we talked about those mega vehicles, right? The mega excavator, the whole truck dump and tank, and we've started to make some. So we have the building there, and we have over here the actual production. So what's happening is this hasn't changed, right? We're first making some vehicle parts, then vehicle parts level 2 with steel and glass, and then this is going to go into a new one with electronics level 2 to make vehicle parts level 3. Now I do have a small addition over here, which is a flat balancer where the priority is this unit storage. Why is this needed? Because now I'm going to replace all of my vehicles. For example, let's say this one, we're gonna replace it into a whole trunk dump, right? So it's going to go over here, and when it goes there, it's gonna want some vehicle parts level 3, but it's also going to basically recycle, those vehicle parts that were used to make this one. So we're gonna get some vehicle parts level 2, and to avoid having, tons of vehicle parts level 2 wasted over here, we're going to make sure that they're sent here. That's why there is a keep full. So as soon as you find any on the map, you send them here, and they're prioritized so that we don't create new ones for nothing. But yeah, with this, as you can see, we have a couple. I have one tank one, 2 hull, and 2 excavators. So you click on it, you can find them. They are huge, as you can see, right? So big. We have also, as I said, those 2 over here, right? You can see again, so big. Here we were talking about 60, now we're talking about 180, right? So 3 times. They also have a way bigger fuel tank, so that's great. And then last but not least, the tank one over here that's transporting, some, I guess he was transporting some diesel over here to my uranium cargo ship. So slowly but surely, we're gonna start moving them, but do remember what I said in the last episode, which is you need to make sure you keep quite a few of these normal trucks there, because these are the only ones that can transport unit things. So unit things is anything that will go into here, right? So things like the wood, the steel, the copper, all those type of things, they can only be transported by this one and not by the big one. It is also worth noting that, if I click on any of my excavators, for example, this one, you can see the compatible trucks. So a small excavator like this cannot work with a huge truck. It can only work with the small ones. And then vice versa, if you look at this mega excavator over here, it cannot work with the very small one, the blue ones. It can only work with the big ones or the trucks, not the, I always forget how they're called, sorry, not the pickup ones. Then you may have realized that we have something new over here next to our city, these farms and this complex over here. This was high time. This is for the hospital, medical equipment. I was starting to get a lot of different diseases. And you can see that those diseases, you know, it will depend. Sometimes it will be the flu, sometimes it will be something different. They will also sometimes be mild, sometimes severe, etc. But every time what they will do is they will give you a big negative malus on your health, which in most cases will mean that you have now a negative growth. You know, you have people dying and nobody joining your settlement. And then on top of this, usually you have a mortality. So in this case, for this one, for example, it's a mortality of 0.2%. I mean that every month there's going to be, 0.2% of my population that's going to die. So that's obviously not great at all. This is where the hospital, the clinic comes into play, but it does require something. You know, it requires medical supply, either level 1, level 2, or in the future we can also get level 3. So it's a bit similar, you know, to the household goods or your food for that matter, right? Is you have one of those things here and then you need some resources. So we had medical supply level 2, so I went directly for this one because the reality is, as you can see over here, it will give me a higher health, 20 instead of 15. It will reduce the mortality, so anytime there is a flu, the mortality will be reduced by a lot with this one, and then it's also higher amount of unity. So, you know, there's no reason to put any medical supply level 1 in my opinion. Just go for level 2 and then when you can level 3. And this is what we're doing over here. You know, this is of course a blueprint, and by the way, if you head to my Discord community, you can find the link to that Discord community in the video description below. It's free to join, don't worry. You will be able to find a lot more blueprints, right? There's a lot more blueprints that I've created. Go there to find them. But yeah, we have a blueprint, you know, for this whole thing. So what is happening over here? Well, basically, you know, we're going to bring 3 things. We're going to bring a bit of plastic, a bit of steel, a bit of water, and with this we're gonna make almost everything that's here. There's only one more thing that we need to bring, which is the sugar cane. I had initially put the sugar cane here right inside, you know, this rectangle, but it was a bit hard to access here, so then I created another one over here. You know, you can put it depending on where your farms are, etc. But that's the last input that you need, sugarcane. And this is why we have those farms over here. Greenhouse level 2, making sugarcane with also a bit of green manure, right? To make sure that we have a high fertility. Because look at this, if I don't put it, I'm gonna only make, you know, 2 per minute, because the fertility equilibrium will be super low, 6%, unless you have a lot of fertilizer, of course. And then if I put green manure with water, then it jumps to 12.5. So with, you know, all 3 of these, it's going to be more than 30, which is great because I need 30. I have those 2 over here, food processor, they each need 15. So more than 30 is perfect. So maybe let's actually start there, right? We have the sugar cane, it goes here into those 2 food processors with a bit of water to make the sugar and the biomass. Now the biomass is going to go directly over here and be burnt. You know, you can see this is this ramp there with one of these loose lifts, and here, right, it merged, it gets burned. So a bit of air pollution, but I didn't want to have to deal with it, and it's so small, right? We're making 3, so that's nothing. And then we're making the sugar. So the sugar will go here into this loose storage. Let me put an alert when it's empty. And this loose storage will then go into a lot of these fermentation tanks. First, there is one on the left that is going to be sugar plus oxygen to make ethanol and carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide is sent to the atmosphere and the ethanol is going to go into the next step. Versus on the other side, we're actually going to have 4 of those fermentation tanks, but these ones are making something new, which is antibiotics. This is needed for the level 2. This is also going to take a bit of oxygen, but it's also going to take a bit of ammonia. So it's a bit more complex. You can see we have multiple pipes, right, at different level. So continuing over here, or before there, actually, you know, I said both of these require oxygen. So you can see this is coming from over here, right? We have this reserve of oxygen, and we have this pipe balancer to say that you first go here before, but if you're full, you can be sent to the atmosphere because that doesn't pollute. Now, this oxygen is actually coming from three things. We have two of these electrolyzers that are making a bit of oxygen, not that much, but a bit, and they're also making hydrogen. The reality is I want this for the hydrogen, but there is oxygen that we need to deal with, and that's why this is the priority in over here. And then the last one is from here, we have an air separator to make oxygen and nitrogen, because I also need nitrogen on the other side. So maybe let's actually talk about this other side, where I'm going to take the hydrogen we just talked about, plus this nitrogen we just talked about too, to make ammonia. Making 6, that's going to be definitely enough, because we only need, 3. So all good, there is this storage there, right? And that's what's happening over here. This is the nitrogen, it goes, ammonia goes at level 1, right? And then it's being dropped. We have also the oxygen at level 2, and then lastly, right, we're gonna have the water there that comes from the input, comes all the way over here, and then gonna be used in all of those things, the food processor and the electrolyzer. So that's what's happening basically all around here. So continuing on this side, we said we're making ethanol, then we're gonna take a bit of plastic, that's what's coming over here, it goes at level 1, being distributed to make some disinfectant. Now the disinfectant goes into the storage, right, to make sure we have some buffer. Obviously you could make this a lot more compact if you were to take out all of those storages in the middle, but I like to have them to have less problems, less fluctuations. So we're creating this disinfectant, and that's gonna be then sent at level 2 over here. And then next to it, we're creating the medical equipment. We have 4 of these, each of them is making 6, so that means 24, which is linked to the 24 over here too. This is taking also the plastic at level 1 and a bit of steel, that's what comes at level 0. So talking about very small quantities, right, but still, you need to bring them. And then that is making, as we said, the medical equipment goes into the storage, and this one is sent at level 1. Then, those two things, the medical equipment and disinfectant, are going down. These leaves are actually going down into those two assembly level 3 to make medical supply. This is 12 and 12. That's why we have 2, because we're making 24. And this is going to make 24 medical supply. So in total, we're making 48 now. And then this medical supply, there's a storage there, and then it goes into those 2 assembly level 3, 24 plus 12 antibiotics to make medical supply level 2, 24 again, so in total 48. So right now, I'm making 48, which is definitely a lot more than what we need. If you look at this, we need right now 28, and this is during a flu. So I'm pretty sure that, it will actually be a lot less once the flu is over. So yeah, we have, the resource there. We have now the cleaning that I put on. So it's using some of this medical supply to make sure that we don't have too much of a problem with the disease. So over here, for example, right, the disease is a lot less impactful than before. We still have, of course, for now this, but it's gonna go away very soon, because now, you can see my health is a lot higher. We have this plus 20, so now I'm back into the green. We have new people joining, nobody's dying, so that's perfect. I'm very happy. That's medical supply level 2, ladies and gents. As I was saying earlier, we could have started medical supply level 1 a lot earlier. You wouldn't need, for example, the antibiotics, but now we already have medical supply level 2, so that's great, and we will have medical supply level 3 soon. This will make it even more complex. We're gonna have, the hydrogen fluoride, a bit more ammonia to make anesthetic. We're gonna need to produce some poppy to make some morphines, and then taking all of this will make the medical supply level 3. So we'll do that, in the future. We're not there yet. Because to do that research lab level 5, we're gonna need the electronics level 3, those are red ones, And to do this, we're gonna need actually microchips. This is all the way over here, right? You need electronics level 2 plus microchips to make electronics level 3. Now to make microchips, we're gonna need gold. We haven't made gold before. We also haven't made before the silicon wafer, so we're gonna need to start this too. And lastly, you know, many of those things are gonna require a new resource, which is sort of like electricity, if you wish. It is teraflop. It's like server capacity, if you wish, right? So we're gonna need to build also servers first. But first and foremost, as I said, the key thing is we're gonna need to get some gold, right? We haven't started the gold. So this is this new production here that I'm going to show you now. So let's go. I have started the gold on this side here. And of course, this is again a blueprint that you can use. So this is a gold production. Not everything is built, but this is a good equilibrium. So let's start probably over here. Is we're gonna want to deliver, you know, the gold ore. So the gold ore comes, you know, from here. We have over here one of those ore sorting plants, right, to transform, to separate, let's say, the dirt from the gold ore. And then this gold ore is gonna be delivered into this loose storage. Then this will go into the first crusher to transform into gold ore crushed. This is 144 to 144, so basically this whole thing here is making double, so almost 300. Then, you know, this will go on this pipe into this storage of gold ore crush, and then it's gonna go into another one because we need to transform the gold ore crush into gold ore powder. And this is only 72, so basically half of this, so we need twice as much, right? Like let's say here we had 2, so here we need 4. Then this will be merged on this belt to go into this storage. So as you can see, I have a lot of storage of gold ore powder, been doing that offline to be ready for this next step. And then this next step is gonna be to take this gold ore powder and a bit of acid into these tanks, to these settling tanks. This is this recipe over here. We have now 8, so again, we're gonna double, because this is 36 instead of 72. And this is going to create the gold ore concentrate, so we're still not finished, and also toxic slurry. You may remember the toxic slurry from the uranium production. So we're gonna need to take care of that one. But before I show you this, let me show you, you know, on the outside, basically we have this gold ore, right? A concentrate that's going all the way over here. Now there is this one U-shape balancer here because I want to also enable the gold scrap, the recycling, into this, right? Into this gold furnace. This is basically the equivalent of all of those furnaces over here, right? Like this one, where again, we've always wanted to use the scrap, in this case, iron scrap or copper scrap. So this is the same here. It's gonna be gold scrap. And if not, then there's going to be gold concentrate plus a bit of sand. Right? So that's what's happening over here. This one is working, for example, you can see, right? We're starting to create some gold. We have a small reserve, but still. So we're taking the gold ore concentrate and we're taking some sand to make this gold and a bit of exhaust. So we had to bring also sand, right? That's what you can see over here. And we had to bring the gold scrap. That's the bottom one. So if you follow them, you can see them over here, right? We have the gold scrap, that is this one, and we have the sand that is here. So that's basically how we're going to make gold. But as I said, there's a couple of byproducts now, right? First, we have the exhaust, right? So the exhaust is this one over here. It's gonna go all the way over here into this exhaust scrubber. With a bit of water, we're gonna create sulfur, carbon dioxide, and steam law. We're basically sending the steam into the atmosphere. We're joining the sulfur over here, and what was the last one? The carbon dioxide. I think I'm also sending into the atmosphere at this point. So with this, you know, we have taken care of the exhaust and we created a bit of sulfur. This sulfur will be useful to make acid. Remember, we need acid. Oh, why is that? Sorry, off. So we need obviously some acid. So it's good to have that sulfur. Now we're only making 6 for 180, so this is actually not making enough sulfur for the whole thing. So that is why over here I have a keep full, but we do have, you know, this coming in. This is how we're making, you know, the sulfur with water. So we have this water pipe all the way over here, right? We need to make sure there is water sent to the system for both this one and these ones. We do produce water though. We produce water in the wastewater treatment. remember the toxic slurry, well, we're gonna need to take care of it. So it's this pipe over here, it's coming from there, all right, at level 1, and it's going to be transformed into water and slag. So the water will be prioritized, that's the priority over here, into our system. The slug will come out into this one, and we have a keep empty. And we do need two things. We need brine and filter media. And I'm actually seeing that I'm very low on brine. That is strange. Wait, did I forgot to put this? Oh, I forgot to put priority out over here. Sorry, my bad. So the brine is here, right? It's coming from there. And this is also where the rest of the water is coming from. We have those two thermal desalinator. Why two? Because each of them is taking 12. So a boiler electric, that's perfect, 24. The boiler electric, is creating this, it's creating water and brine. Now, what we do have is, I think we have way too much water at this point, and therefore not making enough brine, but I think now that I've fixed it with, this priority out, it should be fine, we should have enough brine. Otherwise, there's something we can do is to have also some water coming out over here, but it shouldn't be necessary. And then the last thing that we need, as I said, is the filter media, right? So that's what we have over here. We're creating it with sand that we already needed, with coal, but it's really not a lot, and a bit of rock that is transformed or crushed into gravel. This water was just to prime the system, because remember, we need water to make steam, and we need the steam to make water. So I just add this one to prime the system, but now it's paused, we don't need it anymore. So yeah, with this, basically, if I build all of them, like if I build all of this one, and that one, we would be talking about 4 of these, which is basically 36 of gold per minute. Now, if we look at, the production that require gold, we're 2, 4, we don't need that much gold. So that should be definitely enough at the end of the day. And then, by the way, I also built this gigantic storage over here, unit storage level 4. This is costing 180 of the red parts, and it can store more than 4,000 of resource. I already have 400, that's already quite a lot, but we can do 10 times that into this storage. So yeah, ladies and gents, we have now a gold production. And so as I said, in the next episode, we can start making microchips. We're gonna need wafer. With the microchip, we can start moving to electronics level 3, which also comes with a new maintenance level, a new research level, and much more. But we're getting closer to the end of the research tree. There is still a lot that we need to do, in particular to make this 100% sustainable. But yeah, I'm happy with the progress. Do tell me in the comments, if there's anything you want to see. Remember that you can find all of those blueprints on my Discord community. Smash the like button, and I hope to see you next time.